Kim's foreign on the beat.
What's cracking, y'all? What's cracking? It's your boy Kim's foreign, and that beat you just heard right there, man. That the cat. Of course, I was just the instrumental, but you got to go check it out on Apple Music and all the platforms. Kim's foreign. That song is called "You Can Catch Us." Because that dude that you will be hearing dropping flows on the second verse is my guest today. I like to call him Daredevil, but his government name is Pedro. What's up, bro?
What up, what up, what up? Cam's foreign. Hey, man. Good to hear you, man. I hope you're having a great one. I'm just out here in LA. Yeah, people know me by Daredevil. A lot of people. The original Daredevil. Pedro, however you like to call me. Just call me Daredevil.
Let's talk about that, man. How did you come up with the Daredevil name?
Well, I didn't came up with it. It was put on to me by a friends. They were like, because the stuff I do, I just well, it started like this. I never had mobility training. I didn't go to the institutes that they send you to and stuff like that to get life training and stuff like that. So one of my friends, well, a couple of my friends was like, man, you do all kinds of stuff. You hop on the bus, you travel, you do all this, like you fuck. They said you're Daredevil. So I was like, okay, all right. So I ran with it, and we had these, if you're in the blind community, Varel, Dabble, and, Clubhouse and all these.
Is Dabble still open? I thought it closed down.
It might have closed down. I haven't really checked in. Everybody's on Ramblio, something like that.
That's always a hard one to say, man. Ramblio.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, exactly. That one is hard to say.
Are you on that one, Ramblio?
Yeah, I'm on that one.
Yeah, man. Cause
Daredevil.
I was trying to share the show out there, man. This podcast, but I just can't figure out how to do it because everything is audio, right? So how can I share my show out there?
I look at that. I help you out. That's what I do, with my tech stuff. But yeah, that's the new platform a lot of people are starting to go. A lot of people still on Clubhouse, but that's the new one based on, I think it's made by a blind individual as well.
And it's free, right? It ain't charging you like Varel, right?
No, it's free. It is free, and there's a lot of group of people there.
Yeah, I saw a couple of cats in there from, the beat making section, like, oh, I know that guy. Oh, I know that guy. Small world, right?
Yes, we do have a small community, but at the same time, it's a big community, but small in the sense that we're like blind,
Yeah, man. So let's rewind a little bit here. So, being blind or vision impaired, were you born that way?
Yeah, well, I was born with a eye disease, RP,
Yeah.
and I didn't have no effects. I actually grew up able to see well, and grew up pretty normal. Didn't go to none of the trainings or nothing like that. I went to regular school and things like that and did that, And then like in my midlife around 30, I had an accident and that accident took all my vision away.
Accident. You care to elaborate? Was it a car accident?
Yeah, it was something like that. Yes. Actually, it was more like I got hit in the back of the head,
Oh.
things like that. And it was kind of violent and stuff. But from what I hear, from what my doctor says, I have holes on my retina. I got holes on one of my retinas. The other retina's all scarred up and got scar tissue and all that. So, I lost my vision that way. So, I see a little different. I see a little gray on one eye. It's all gray, and the other eye is all black.
After that happened, did you have like, oh shit, man, how am I gonna do what I want to do? Get around, get here, do this, find that, find that. What was your?
Yeah. Well, at first, it's hard, and it's always gonna be hard, even when trying to travel and do things like that. Us as blind individuals, sometimes we still get down about our vision loss. Myself, I do. But I had children to take care of, and I'm the one that cooks for them, takes them to school, gets their clothes ready, all the good stuff that a parent does. So I had that motivation because of my children. So due to them, I picked up a cane. I started teaching myself and I kind of picked up quick. And one thing that I noticed, I have somewhat of a echolocation when it comes to navigating and stuff like that. And that kind of helps me out, you know? But having my kids as a motivation was something good in my life. I was motivated to go to their events, their shows, let's say their parent conferences and other things like that. So I couldn't stop. I had to get up and go. But I remember one of my first times when I went out when I was, completely blind. I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna try to go over here. And I wanted to go shop. So I went to shop and, it went well, but when I got out the store and started navigating, I remember I started feeling some anxiety and I never had anxiety until I went blind. That was my first time feeling that anxiety, hands sweating and, feeling a little like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Am I going to FaceTime somebody right now? What am I going to do? And things like that. And, I told myself, calm down, orient yourself. And, in the end, I ended up finding a bus stop, catching the bus home and came home. But, I started feeling like that. And that was around 11. I lost my vision like 12 years ago. I started kind of going out on my own around 11 years ago. And, it was going well, but I still was like, I need mobility training. And due to the state, they provided a personal mobility instructor and she was helping me out. We were walking around and she was pretty surprised that I was able to do what I do and not have any training, But as a blind individual, you could be confident, but I was still like, I need to pick up some tips, some tactics and different ways of navigating. And that was pretty nice. It was good to go through the mobility training. And, you know, I went through a tech program. I kind of ran through the tech program because I kind of specialize on the tech part. But it was all good. That happened like a year ago, 2 years ago that I started having help from the state, and ever since I've been keeping busy with Braille and other things like that, attending some of their classes and, doing some work. But yeah, you know, I had an accident and honestly, I look at it as a good thing. There's other people that have it worse than me. So I look at it as a blessing.
Earlier, you talked about a FaceTime call. Would you classify that as being dependent or just using your resources? Because, bro, as you know, guys, I've known this cat. What is it? What 6 years now?
Mm-hmm.
And so I work in a school district and I go to different schools most times. And when I'm at a new school, I'm like, I got to use my cane skills, my awareness. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? There have been times, man, I get lost in the sauce, right? So I would FaceTime my coworker, and the minute she saw that FaceTime call, she'd be like, "You lost?" I'm like, "Yeah, man. I don't know where the front door is at, but so yeah, man. Do you think that's I don't want to say wrong, but is that considered dependent? If you FaceTime someone, just hey, man, help me out a little bit, bro."
Well, just like someone regular will call when they need some help or they go ask somebody that's more specialized or has more experience in something or has a tool like their eyes, I don't consider it being dependent. I consider still being independent. It's just sometimes we need a little help, just like how we will call an operator and be my eyes or even use AI to help us read a letter.
Resourceful, basically, is what you're saying. We're being resourceful, right?
Yes, you're
Because
using all your tools in your toolbox.
there are people, pride or whatever you want to call it. No, I can do it. I got it. I got it. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't
Mhm.
there ain't no shame reaching out or
No, well, that was me. That's
yeah.
me. Okay, I'm a person that likes to be real independent and don't like asking for help, but there is sometimes when we do need help, and I learned that lesson pretty hard. I was in a car with someone, and I didn't have my cane. And the person was upset, whatever, and just dropped me off anywhere. Like they just dropped me off, and it was at night. I couldn't see
Oh
nothing,
hell
and I didn't
no.
have no cane, no cane. And from then, I was like, I'm gonna do everything myself. Banking, credit cards, ATM, everything. I'm never gonna be stuck in a situation like this ever again. And you know, a hard thing for me sometimes is asking for help. But sometimes you gotta bite the bullet and ask for help. Even if we weren't blind, we would need help regardless on different things.
What's your opinion of sighted guy though?
A sighted guide, they're good. Don't get me wrong. It's good to have help in a new place, you know? But there's times where I tell the sighted guy, like, look, I wanna use my cane and I follow you because honestly, like that, I learned the place, I learned my landmarks, and then I am able to get around and do what I need to do. That's one thing of me. Sometimes I don't like to hold on to people and 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 not know because if I'm holding on to someone, I'm not really using my cane and catching these landmarks because sometimes I want to get up and go out and go get some fresh air or find my way to the restroom. But if I know my landmarks and I know how to get there, I just get up and go. I like that independency. I don't like to be dependent on somebody and I have to look for someone. But don't get me wrong. There's times I'm at a restaurant, I'm like, hey, I need help to the restroom or things like that. And they will help. That's always great. Ain't nothing wrong with that either. But I do like my independence where I could get up and find the front door and go out.
Yeah, there's kind of like that balance, though, is what you're saying. Like, I don't want too much help, but some a little bit here and there. There's a
Hmm.
balance. So,
Yeah. And I learned that from my past relationship, being with someone that has some sight but is losing their sight. I'm I'm always been independent, so I go and walk around and we could walk together, but I'm using my cane and stuff like that because sometimes being in a relationship with both y'all might be blind or visually impaired and one person is blind, you don't want to put your your stress, well, your problems with the other person's problems, even though they're going blind and things like that. I like to be independent because in the end you get to guide each other.
that's a lot. That's one thing that I've always gotten over the years. How do you feel about this? Oh, you're blind, so they're going to assume you're dating someone blind. You're blind, so they assume that your kids are blind. What do you think about that? Like, oh, just because I'm blind, everything attached to me is blind?
That is true. There is some negative connotations on that. Like, let's say people think that. People come to that conclusion, oh, you're blind, so your kids must be blind, or both of y'all blind, so your kids are coming out blind, or you must be dating someone blind. And love doesn't necessarily mean, oh, I'm gonna be with a blind person. Love hits when love hits. It could be sighted person, or it could be a blind person or a visually impaired person. You don't go off by, oh, I'm in love with this person because I'm blind. No, it is, I'm in love with this person because I love who they are. I love the person. And some people, I guess, have some type of an idea of blind individuals. And that's why it's good that you do a podcast like this because you're raising awareness. You're letting people know, including the sighted people that will listen to this podcast. And shout out to you, Kims, you know?
So let's get to the good stuff. I mean, all of it is, but like I said earlier, I met you in the beat making spectrum, right?
Hmm.
How long have you been doing music, and how do you do it? If you want to tell the listeners.
Okay. Well, we met like what, 6 years ago? I was doing it 2017, 2018 is when
Yeah,
I
okay,
started.
okay, okay. Because I started 2018. I heard about you through another cat because he jumped on your track. I'm like, what's that song you done did? It's skipping my brain right now.
That mommy,
Damn
I
Mommy,
believe.
yeah, yeah. You guys go check that out. That is the jam. It's on all the platforms. Damn Mommy. But I heard
Mhm.
that track, I'm like, "Man, I gotta reach out and do something with this cat." We done 2 songs, I believe, since then. But
Mhm.
anyways, yeah, so let's get back to that. You started 2017?
Yeah, well, I started with free flowing and, rapping and stuff like that, and, I was doing a little bit of GarageBand on my phone, but and then, I was able to get me a Mac, and bought myself a copy of Logic and started learning that, and started dropping beats, and then I started dropping tracks, you know, and as an artist, we could trick our artistry, we sometimes should I put it out? Should I not? And we get to that type of thing. And, I was just like, let me put it out. The more I put out, the more I'm putting out, and having that confidence to put out your stuff. That includes your beats or whatever you're trying to do, if it's a podcast, or is it like what I do video content, all that stuff. So I love all that stuff, and with the music, the beat making makes time fly for me. I love to do it. I like to create tracks. I like to write. I like to rap. My thing is hip hop and rap. That's always been my genre, of music. And I grew up in the middle of that, growing up in LA and South Central, like they say.
I think I read one of your bios on Apple Music or something. I think you said Dr. Dre is what got you into all this?
Oh, yes, yes, that is true. I remember I was like 9. And I remember they gave me a Walkman, a radio Walkman.
Oh,
And
man.
growing up Latino, we listened to like cumbia, corridos, and Spanish music. And don't get me wrong, I love Spanish music. But when I started tuning that down and turning and trying to find a radio station, one of the songs I landed was Ring Ding Dong by Dr. Dre.
Hey, that was the jam, man.
That was the jam right there. And I was like, what? What is this? What? So I was like, "What?" And I was intrigued and I was listening and I was like, "Oh my god, this is cool. This is dope." Like, that's what I ended up like gravitating to, you know?
What do you think about Logic Pro, bro? They came out with some new updates, man. Are you rocking that?
Yeah, I'm on the latest one. I am rocking that. I'll be messing with it a little bit, but I'll be all over the place sometimes. But, they have some of these AI tools that are helping out. I like that stem splitter, even though it's not the greatest and the best, but it's tools we have, tools that we can utilize, as creators.
What do you think about Reaper? I've been thinking about trying out Reaper because I'm a Windows guy. I
Hmm.
mean, I know you can use Reaper on the Mac, but primarily I like to use Windows for everything. Have you tried Reaper?
I read up on it. I think I have a copy, but I heard a lot of producers use Reaper. Reaper has, I think it's a plugin that helps you out more with the screen reader. But it's a good DAW. It's a very good DAW. And, if you buy instruments and you buy plugins, you could all put them in there and, you could do your editing. I know a cool bunch of people. They got Reaper groups and all that for learning and stuff like that. So that's always a good thing, having a feed in both.
Yeah, I still haven't decided if I should put down the $60 because they tell you you have like a 60-day eval, but people's been using that 60-day eval for like 10 years, so I don't know.
Hmm. Well, it's less than most, they got the FL Studios around 50, $60 too. Then we got
Ableton
Logic.
though, I heard Ableton's doing big things now, right?
Yeah, Ableton just got an update, and yeah, there is people that love Ableton and they do their thing there, and more power to them. And then we have the Logic at a 200. Sometimes you can't beat that, but if you want to test it out, if you're a creator and you want to test out the creator apps from Apple, they have a new type of plan. It's called Creators, and you're able to test out their Logic, their all their different softwares, so that is always great if you want to kind of dip your toe into it, so that is always good. They have like the the video editing applications. They have Logic. They have all types of different. I think they're like 5 different apps that you could get for your Mac, and they come with more AI features enabled as well. They get better updates, I heard. Even though Logic and these other apps are going to get their updates as well. But if you're a student, you get it for $2.99 a month.
What? I need to be a student. I'm going back to school just for all that. No, I'm just
Ain't we all students of life though, you know?
that's what I'm saying. Give me the $2 hookup, man. I'm a student in life, man. But yeah, man, I like Logic, but I wish they had Logic for the Windows, man. Because I when I first met you, bro, I was so done with the Mac. You know what I'm saying? I'm still not even 100%. I just use it just for music production. That's why I'm just like I'm getting too old for this, man. I gotta make my life simpler. So
Mhm.
let me jump over to Reaper because the engineer that I'm working with right now, he rocks Reaper all the time, and I'm like, dude, I ain't trying to do no Pepsi Cola, Crips and Blood type stuff, man. Like Windows
Mhm.
versus Mac, I'm gonna use whatever is easiest. So I don't
Well
know.
well, the point, and it's not a point, but from what I see from different producers is that some are acquainted with Logic, but they're acquainted with Pro Tools or Reaper, and it's good to have different dolls. They all do the same thing in different ways, but you could get different results. Some are easier, some are difficult in certain things. But, my primary is Logic and my primary Mac. Like that's my OS. That's what I use is the Mac, and I do everything on the Mac. I'm able to do everything that I haven't even opened my Windows just like a week ago. And before that, I have more than 6 months not opening my window computer.
So let's do this video thing. What expand on that? What's this video thing that you were mentioning earlier?
Well, I do content. I do two types of different content. I have my voiceover pro channel on YouTube and on Facebook, Pedro Aguilera on Facebook, voiceover pro on YouTube. And that's more of my tech channel. I talk about tech, different things, rumors, Apple rumors, Meta glasses rumors, and all this stuff. Sometimes I do little tutorials
Oh, I was about to
for
ask you that.
people
Do
to
you do
learn.
tutorials? Yeah, because after we get done with the show, bro, text me the voiceover pro channel so I can subscribe to it because I need
Hmm.
to stay brushed up on my voiceover stuff, and then I will also put it in the show notes.
All right, I got you. And then I have my lifestyle type channel where I talk about blind issues, blind problems that I run into, different things, that I want to talk about. Sometimes I talk about the Super Bowl, I talk about news that's happening in the blind community or things that I find.
Oh, send me that one too. Cause isn't that the
Mhm.
one I thought? I would see you post on Facebook, and I think one time you were at Vegas. Is that the right channel?
Yeah, that's the right channel. That's my Unseen Adventures 8 channel where I post about different things. One of my last videos that I think I posted was about cars crossing over that sidewalk, that crosswalk line, that white line, and then they expect you not to tap their car. They want you to go around. And us as blind individuals, we tap. That's how we know when we tap something, the concrete, a pole, whatever it is. That's how we know we there. And some drivers, they're okay with it. They're like, "Oh, it's okay, my bad for going over the line." Some drivers get upset, and things like that. But, the video was about what I thought about that and, you know, some of the reactions I got in that same channel, some of the craziest questions that I got in from strangers out in public. One of the videos was about a lady that asked me, how do I sign language and say this in sign language? And I had my cane. Look, I had my cane on my lap and I brought up my cane and I said, no, I'm not deaf, I'm blind. And she was like, oh, I'm sorry, and got up and left.
Isn't it
So I had
amazing how they get those two twisted, bro? Like
Mhm.
blind doesn't mean you can't hear. I've never got that, man.
I know, and sometimes people get it. I don't know how they get it confused, but it happens, and, sometimes I have crazy little stories that I go through, and I put them there, and I talk there. So once again, that's my Unseen Adventures 8
What do you use
TikTok.
though? I mean, do you have like a GoPro? What do you use when you're recording these shows?
I use my Mac. My Mac, put it there, I set up. I got my lighting because the world is a visual world, even though I can't see, I put my lighting, I center myself, all that good stuff. And, you know, I do my thing and I do my videos. Sometimes they're short, sometimes they're a little long. I have my Halloween stories on that same channel and things like that that I've gone through and experienced. So, you know, I just, do my creative. I like
Hold
to
on,
do
hold
my
on, hold on. So
creative.
I'm just trying to paint the picture for the audience here. So you're not walking around out in public with your Mac. So you're using your phone to record all this and then it's transported to the Mac or what?
Mm-mm. I do everything straight from the Mac, from the camera there. The Mac has a they call it main stage camera, I guess is what it's called. And it kind of frames you in the middle. So that's pretty nice. Plus, it's easier for me to actually kind of put my computer down, point the camera, and I'm able to. And then I have little strategies that I use to make sure I'm in the center, things like that.
But this is when you're out in public though, right?
No, when I'm out in public, I use my metas. I do that, and sometimes when I do videos for my food videos. Then I have my phone. I have a magnetic phone stand. It just snaps there, and I could, put my phone there. I got my gimbal. That's another tool that I use. My gimbal has for stabilization. It has an AI that centers you, and it has lighting. So different.
I've learned a lot from this cat, man. Like, cause I can't remember what channel it was, but you would be talking about different apps that you can use.
Hmm.
I was like, man, it's pretty dope. you know?
Yeah, my toolbox is extensive.
Yeah, man.
You
Without
know.
you even knowing, bro, you taught me a lot, bro, over the years. But I just be all over the place. So I want to do this over here on the Mac. I want to do this on the Windows. And then I go
Hmm.
back to Daredevil. I'm like, oh no, whatever Daredevil just talked about, then they can help it with Windows. So I guess I just gotta find a platform and just stick with it, man. But I don't know why, man.
Mhm.
Windows is what brought me to the dance, so that's what I'm gonna stay at. But
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with Windows, man. And that's your thing. Utilize that tool to the max.
yeah, until it's maxed out, then I go to the Mac, you know. But
Yeah,
so are you willing to do you provide any services? I mean, just in case, when we get to that part to plug
yeah.
info about you. So you earlier you talked about the Mac and making music. Are you willing to teach people how to put a beat together, how to use Logic? Do you do things like that?
Yes, I actually have a website, daredevilcollective.com, and I have my consulting there. Lessons are gonna be there. Some courses that I'm working on are gonna start coming up. But I got my consulting that retains to it could be being a creative on what platforms to use or how to upload or how to center yourself, different things, that includes even editing, music creation, mixing, all that good stuff is there.
How much are the lessons?
Mm, around right now I have it around 75, per hour,
Oh wow,
you
per
know.
hour. Okay.
Yeah. And it could get extensive, when it comes in a professional setting where people give me like what they want to do and what they do in their work. And then I draw up a specialized plan for them and a specialized techniques and everything they will get in text form. They will get the consulting notes and everything. So sometimes for those could be 150 an hour.
There you go, guys. Like I said, once he sends me all the info, I'll have it in the show notes for you guys to hop on over there, check out his YouTube page. Is
Mhm.
YouTube pages, right? Because you got more than one YouTube.
Yeah, I got my two YouTube pages, TikTok and Facebook. And I know sometimes those prices are high, but I also do nonprofit work from an organization called Blind United. And what Blind United is a nonprofit where they provide online programs. They have social programs like knitting and crocheting, support groups, movie nights, game nights, history of music, culture, all types of different groups through Zoom, and anyone's welcome. But we also have programs like JAWS, Learning JAWS. We also have tips and tricks with JAWS. We have AI and tech class that I teach, and then we have a Meta Ray-Bans class. And this is open to the public. If you're blind, no matter the income, no matter your situation, where the state fails, we pick up that. And that's, if you want to get in our email list, that would be info@blindunited.org. And those programs are free to the blind community.
So even though because I don't think I mentioned this, you're in California, right?
Correct.
So we don't have to be like if I wanted to join that, I don't have to be a resident of California.
No, this is nationwide. We have people sometimes overseas. We have people in Texas, Florida, Michigan, Oregon. So people from different states, and they come in, and you could be a senior. As long as you have a vision problem, we help. And sometimes we're in a situation. I had people that I teach that they're on their own home. And they can't get really state help. The state helps them just a bit. And then they tell them, well, maybe get a second mortgage to get your devices. And as someone that's visually impaired and disabled, I believe you shouldn't put your livelihood back on the market, you know? And we provide these services like how to use the Ray-Ban Metas. And if you participate, we also have scholarships. Last year, we actually gave out 3 pairs of Ray-Ban Meta glasses to people that need them. And one of our,
Wow, those are not cheap, man, either, man. For you just guys to give them away, that's dope.
mm-hmm. And one of our lady friends, she ended up being more independent. She started going to the store, shopping. She says she actually goes around and cleans up her yard, and she uses the Ray-Ban Meta glasses. So we teach that. We also teach the AI for beginners, where we go into prompting and different applications you can use, how to sign up, how to use like ChatGPT, Gemini, Be My Eyes, Scribe Me, and all that good stuff.
And this
And
is free?
this is all free.
Man, bro, I mean, look, you get me all pumped up, bro. So when we click stop or record, you better text all this info to me, bro. I'm s-
I will.
I'm signing up. I'm signing up, especially with the what was that one you said that you blind United, right?
Yeah, Blind United Inc.
Yeah, because I heard you mention it a couple times. I'm like, but
Mhm.
we never you and I, because well, all my kids are grown now, but when you and I chopped it up back in the day, our kids were young and just doing their thing and just never had time to link up, man.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, that's true. And I've been keeping myself busy. I like to get back to the community. Sometimes the tech comes easy for me, so I like to give back and make it easy for individuals and help them find their independency. And independency is whatever you make it out to be, you know, whatever you think is independent. Sometimes we do need help and we ask for help, and that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like raising kids, you know what I'm saying? When people say it takes a village to raise a
Mhm.
kid, so it's like, you can't tell me you raised all 16 of those kids by yourself.
16 is a whole football team already.
But no, speaking of which, though, parenting, though, I mean, I know your kids are like, because I've known you for a minute, your kids are teenagers now. So,
Mhm.
how briefly describe like your parenting? Was it challenging for you? With
Mm, yeah, depends. My children are pretty easy. They do sometimes do their little things that teenagers do. But as a parent, it's learning, doing the cooking differently and staying up to date. I have my little techniques that I use, especially for my type of clothing and stuff like that. Knowing the colors, the different tones, and I like to coordinate, but even with my children, I do the same. And one thing that I have with my children is some of that parental controls on their phone. I set those stuff up.
Does that
and
work
cause
though? I mean, because I tried that on my kids, bro, and they figured it out. They were like, "Hey, if I'm connected to Wi-Fi, there's no parental control." So does that actually work?
well, the parental control should be always on, even if you're on Wi-Fi. I have set up content blocks, uh, age limits, downtimes. I put certain amount of time for certain apps. Like, for example, if there's social medias, I put at least 1 hour to 2 or 3 hours, depending, and then it's when it's bedtime, their phone locks up on them, you know?
Wow, look at you, man. Like I don't even know. But for those that don't know how to do something like that, you want to give a brief instruction, like how to lock them out. Hey, I don't want you using Facebook at night, or
Yeah, and basically you just go to your settings, parental controls, you set up a password. You have to have a family group, but you can also pick the phone if you don't have it in your family group. And once you're there, you have options for like content that you want to accept them to have and content you want to block, ratings, age limits. You also have into apps, you could say allow this app or don't allow this app. And there's times where one of my children gets an app that I don't think it's suitable for them, or they're abusing the app and ways that shouldn't be done. So I turn the apps off, so even the app store, so they just won't download anything they want,
do they
you
complain
know?
about that though? Have you got any?
No, because
Uh
in a way, but I tell them, well, you right there where it says download, you press download and then it's gonna ask for permission and you press ask for permission and I get a notification. And if I believe the app is okay, I approve it. If I don't, I won't approve it.
they don't object to that when you don't approve it.
No, and I tell them, come like build your case and come and let me know why you should have this app. I tell them like that and for my kids it's games, and that's okay. The games. Sometimes I don't like certain games that have those chat rooms and stuff like that because,
Yeah,
I gotta monitor stuff
yeah,
like
you
that.
never know who's in there, man. I mean, you hear
Mhm.
stories about that a lot, like this 38-year-old pretending to be 15. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
We
Mhm.
gotta keep our kids safe.
Yes, all the time, all
Speaking of
the
games,
time.
man. Speaking of games, are you? Do you have a PS5, man? There's a lot of blind people rocking the PS5.
Yeah, I got a PS5. I bought it for my children and they told me, "Hey, look," they told me like this. They told me, "Hey, Dad, since we think you're not gonna be belaying, you press the on button first time." And I was like, "Okay." So I pressed the on button and boom, it said screen reader mode. And I was like, "What?" And I told my kids, "What? Let me check that out." And they put it on and all that. I created a profile. We had the game Mortal Kombat 1 that's fully accessible except the side little stories, but I was able to navigate to the menu. I went down, set up more accessibility controls within the game that lets you know how close you are to the next character while you're fighting, the audio descriptive for the little cutscenes.
That's dope.
I set that whole thing up so I was able to turn on the PlayStation, load up the game, go back to my story mode. I passed the entire game and with audio descriptive. It was cool. It was a different type of experience, able to turn on the PlayStation, go to the game, load it up, go to my story, and do that and pass the
So,
game.
are you limited with certain games with PS5, or is it accessible with any and
They're
all
th
games?
No, they're not. Not all games are accessible. The ones that I found accessible are what was it? The Last of Us version, PlayStation 5, and The Last of Us 2. Then I think they have a racing game, Mortal Kombat 1 that I mentioned, and I think a few others. But
How do you
I
know? I mean,
gone
how do you know that they're accessible? I mean, because I would hate to spend. I don't know how much these games are, but if I spend some ducats, I'm like, I can't use it. you know?
Yeah, yeah, and I get that, I get that, but what PlayStation is doing at their store, they will let you know how accessible it is, if it's for low vision or completely blind, screen reader enabled, things like that. But the way I found out about more games was going to the CSUN conference over here at Anaheim, and they have a PlayStation booth, and
You
I
gotta be
went there.
kidding me. Seriously, they got a gaming booth now?
Yeah, it's like they have all kinds of tech in this tech conference. It's a tech conference for different disabilities, and, they have Amazon, they got, like, the werewolf gear and things like that. But, me, I was like, let me go hit up the Sony booth, check out their headphones.
How come they don't got Daredevil Collective up on there?
Not yet, pretty soon. But I checked them out, they showed me the different games they had, I was like, "Cool," but by then I already had the PlayStation and stuff because I bought it for my children, and they love that thing, they like playing their games, it keeps them entertained and stuff like that, you know? But
We talked about your YouTube page. Do you have anything about the PS5 on your YouTube page showing how to set it up, play it, and all that?
Not how to set it up, but I talked about it and how it was easy to set up right out the box, the screen reader comes on, you know?
It's narrator, right? That's what they use? PS5?
I don't know what they use, is their own type of narrator, that's Microsoft, you know? But they have their own screen reader and it's pretty works and they have different tactics. Like your controller vibrates when certain things happen, you know. You have little beeps and little things right there that let you know different things. What I do is sometimes I put some headphones on and I could tell if I'm in the left, right, or if I'm turning around and I could hear where is like, for example, The Last of Us have zombies and stuff like that, So you could hear them coming, you could lock on them, different things like that. So that's nice. I always wanted that from the PlayStation 4, but it wasn't like that until the PlayStation 5 and the new Microsoft system as well. I heard is good. I heard that Mortal Kombat's accessible as well.
No, man, I don't know. Gaming is like a last resort thing for me because I'm right now like getting this show on the road and trying to spread the word and then working on my EP. You got any music that you're working on?
Yeah, I do have a few. I do have a few. So stay tuned. Stay tuned, and it's Daredevil on Apple Music and on Spotify and all those streaming sites.
Okay, okay. So, but yeah, guys, this guy is like just fully loaded with a bunch of stuff. What do they call it? A jack of all trades.
Yeah.
So,
Well, what they say is a master of one is a master, but a master of all is a master of everything.
so before we call it quits, bro, do you want to plug anything? We talked earlier about Reaper, Logic, beat making, independent stuff. Your Vision Pro. Anything you want to plug?
Yeah. Well, my website, daredevilcollective.com. I try to keep that updated. And then my socials are on YouTube, VoiceOver Pro, Unseen Adventures 8. On Facebook, it's Pedro Aguilera. You can follow me there. I put a lot of content there. And on TikTok, it's Unseen Adventures 8, So I'll be all over the place.
All right, one last thing that we ask people to leave with is any words of wisdom or advice that you would like to give to the blind community as it relates to their pursuit for success.
Hmm. Well, if it's making you happy and it gives you enjoyment, it's worth pursuing. And even if it's in a professional setting or in a creative setting, it's worth pursuing. One thing that I like to tell people is, yes, our vision is a disability, but it's not a limitation.
All right,
So,
all right.
so always pursue what makes you happy. That could be a family, that could be a professional setting, that could be in a creative setting, and
And
it's worth
if
pursuing.
and if you need help, like we said earlier, there's no shame in your game to ask for help. And
Mm-hmm.
here's one cat that you can reach out to, Daredevil, aka Pedro. Reach out to him, and I'm sure he'd be more than glad to help out.
I'm always willing to help out, especially on my nonprofits that I do. I do it for free.
You don't see that a lot these days, man. Give me 60
Mhm.
bucks, man. I'll help you. Give me
Yeah,
80
well,
bucks.
yeah, well, I like to volunteer. I know in Braille they wanted me to teach some of the iPhone and things like that, and I would do it, of course, but once they start getting in my skill sets and they want me to teach logic and things like that, I'm like, no, well, you gotta pay me to teach some of this because this is my professional setting that I do. This is my professional work, and this is valuable. And as a blind individual, we gotta know our value. A lot of times they want us to volunteer and do this, volunteer that, and that's good to volunteer, but also have value for your skills and your skill sets that you bring to the table.
Well, let's
Don't
be
undersell
let's let's
yourself.
let's be real, man. We got bills to pay. We got kids to feed too, you know?
Exactly.
So, but man, I would like to thank you so much for taking time out of your day to
Mhm.
jump on here, and hopefully you'll let others know about what we're trying to do over here. Actually, what I'm trying to do over here with this
Mhm.
show. And but yeah, man, you keep up the good work. And like I said, once we stop, man, send me all that info, the United stuff, so I can join. Because I'm pretty pumped up about that. Because I thought that was just like exclusive to your state. You know what I'm saying? I didn't knew it was nationwide type thing.
Well, it's worldwide.
Yeah.
And I will send you that, and it's good. We try to bridge that gap, make that connections.
Oh,
And it's
yeah.
volunteering is something that I like to do. I like to give back.
Yes, sir. I feel that. I feel that. Anyways, bro, thanks again for your time, man. And you take care of yourself, man.
All right. All right. All right, guys. Thank you for joining. And I'll pass the word around for your podcast. And Kim's, anytime you want me on, just ask.
Oh, most definitely. Now that I got more info about and remembered what you do, you could probably come up on here and do some demos for certain things.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
All right, man. Well, appreciate you, bro.
Hmm.